goalkeeper history.
Let's go. Streaming data free on the MTN network in South Africa.
This is Omni Sports.
T's and C's apply.
South Africa's number one, Ronwen Williams, is a keeper. Fresh faces for the Three Lions, and Cole is out in the cold. And a Portuguese hero makes history last night by recording his 900th goal. We'll talk about all of that in the football. Let's start off on our own shores. South Africa's number one, Ronwen Williams, is the first goalkeeper in history to be nominated for the Yashin Trophy while playing for a club in Africa. The Sundowns shotstopper is one of 10 goalkeepers in the running here. Wow.
I love the story that he thought that the Sundowns media officer was joking when he called him and he had to check, and then the first person he told was his wife. He said, I went numb, I didn't have any feeling, and then he went and told his partner and his son first, and they just broke down in tears. He's just a special story because of his background. You know, he nearly gave up football after his brother died, and he's just come back, and he is the absolute class. You know, you've seen what he's done for Sundowns in the CAF and also for Bafana in the AFCON. He's an extraordinary player. When
you take it seriously, this is what happens. I mean, he's made history. He's now, for those who don't know, that's basically the Ballon d'Or for goalkeepers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Emiliano Martinez, of course, holds it right now after winning the World Cup. But there's only 10 keepers who get in. It's not like, you know, the whole Ballon d'Or list is like 870. There's only 10 keepers in the world. So for sort of low keeper and these guys to recognize him as African football being taken seriously. And shout out to Sundowns for grinding it out, you know?
Yeah, hopefully be back soon. He says he hopes that this helps Bafana in the game against South Sudan tomorrow.
Uganda. And in fact, Bafana play Uganda tonight.
Oh, Uganda tonight, sorry. And South Sudan later, yeah.
Yeah, in a Group K qualifier. Group K, that's correct. I mean, you don't need that so many groups. Group K AFCON qualifier at Orlando Stadium. I want an inquiry to be made to the bloody moron who in South Africa thought a 6 o'clock kickoff on a Friday night.
Yeah.
For the, you know, obviously the most successful of the Springboks, but Bafana is still the center of our footballing, right? Who the bloody hell thought 6 o'clock on a Friday is the time to put Bafana on in Orlando? And for those who are global or perhaps on the African continent, so Orlando is in Soweto, one of the most vibrant and, you know, chaotic or whatever you want to call Soweto places in the world, by the way. Moving around in Soweto at midday is interesting times. Yeah. Like, I love Orlando. I love Orlando Stadium. I'm an Orlando Pirates fan. But this isn't bloody Switzerland as well. And we have hardworking people who, let's face it, working class people, the working man has to what? Go and ask his boss now, I can leave at 3 o'clock. That ain't never going to happen.
I mean, there is public transport. The Rea Vaya bus service goes straight past. But as you say, 6 o'clock, people knock off at 5.
Yes.
It's going to take them an hour to get back from the centre of Joburg or the north of Joburg, from Sandton, to get there. And Orlando Stadium is great. It's 40,000 seats. It was built refurbished for the 2010 World Cup. And it's a beautiful stadium, but getting there, as you said, there's like one road in, one road out.
And we're not Cape Town. Like people in Cape Town, for them, by sort of 10:15, they're already on their lunch break, ready to go home. You know, they don't work down there. This is Johannesburg. People are grinding here.
Absolutely, work 7 days a week up here.
Whoever put the game at 6 o'clock needs to be put in front. I wouldn't say firing squad. That's maybe a bit strong, but I would definitely have them, commission of inquiry to say, what was going through your numbskull when you decided 6 o'clock for Bafana, where they'll play Uganda in Orlando tonight. Ronwen Williams, sadly, is out of that game. But a history maker, Ronwen Williams, a keeper. All right, let's move on to England. England face the older enemy. Kev McCallum is, of course, Northern Irish himself, so Ireland at the Aviva Stadium in Lee Carsley's first game in charge. Carsley has rung the changes with a fresh race squad. One shock name in there was Leals Angel Gomez, who was part of that under-21 team, of course, last year, who won the Euros, chose to play for England, and here's his complications in his family.
Played for Portugal, and growing up in all the age groups, and my brother, when he was younger as well, played in the younger age groups for Portugal. But whenever me and my dad have spoke, he's always wanted me to go my own pathway with England. And ever since I've been playing for England in the younger academies, the aim was always to make it to the seniors.
It is something people are struggling with now, because there's a diaspora from everywhere. Like, British people are marrying Portuguese people.
Yeah.
You know, in the previous generation, British people were just, well, it was the war as well. So people weren't really leaving, right? And everybody in Europe was kind of, that they feared the Brits and the Brits feared everybody. But now, Angel Gomes, British mother, Portuguese dad. His dad played for Portugal. And now, more and more, we're seeing this more and more with people having to decide. Declan Rice had the choice to play for Ireland. Wayne Rooney, for those who don't know, could have played for Ireland. There's a lot of players now. And you look at, obviously, the black players. Bukayo Saka, he is West African looking. You can see he's a Nigerian dude. He could have played for Nigeria. Some guys go and play for Jamaica, you know. So the sort of diaspora from the British Empire is happening.
Yeah, I mean, I love his entire name is Edelson Angel Abro de Almeida Gomes. It's it's a beautiful name, but I know he struggled early on, went overseas. He's now at Lille doing extremely well. I'm going to love watching him play, but not against Ireland, of course.
Super player, not against Ireland. Lee Carsley, the interim manager of England, is actually in fact, there we go. There's a good example. The very manager is English, but obviously not good enough to get in there. Played for Ireland, did Lee Carsley. He now will manage against Ireland, so he'll understand Gomez's position. And if you haven't seen Gomez, because he's been out the Premier League, absolutely electric player. Let's move on to another guy who I absolutely love. I've loved this guy's career. Coming on, Nottingham Forest, talismanic number 10, Morgan Gibbs-White is another fresh face in the senior team. And remember, he was a star for Carsley and England at the age group level. He spoke about what finally getting a call-up to the big time means and whether he ever doubted he'd get this call-up. Morgan Gibbs-White.
It was a dream come true. I've wished for this moment since I was a little boy. And obviously I got into training. All the boys didn't, because we were in the afternoon. I didn't tell any of the boys, you know, wasn't really didn't want all the pressure, and then the squad came out as just before we went out to train, and all the boys found out then, and they all went crazy dancing. Everyone was happy for me. So no, the support's been unbelievable. I wouldn't say doubted, you know, because before you get the actual text, you get a message that you're on the long list, and I think I've been getting that message since the Euros 21, since we won that. So for about a year and a half I was getting that message, and it was like waiting to get called up. And obviously there's incredible amounts of talent in England, especially with the players, so I knew it was just about me being patient, taking my time, concentrating on club level, doing the best that I can for Nottingham Forest. And then fortunately enough it's come now, and obviously I'm so delighted and thankful to the manager for giving me the call up. Just like I said, I can't wait to get going now.
You know what I like about this New England era? Gareth Southgate, for all of his many shortcomings as a coach, was he stopped this nonsense of just picking people because they're at big clubs. You know, Calvin Phillips was playing, Declan Rice at West Ham. You're in the team. Like, if you're good, you'll play. And this is good actually for the Premier League, because now you don't have to go to Man United where they stockpile players. Like, you can see what Man City are doing. You can't have Jack Grealish on the bench. Like, what nonsense is this? Grealish should leave. It might be difficult. His salary might be the GDP of South Africa. So it'll be difficult for him to go back to Aston Villa. But now you can play for Nottingham Forest, do your thing. As the youth say, you can cook there. If you're cooking at Nottingham Forest, they'll call you up.
Well, maybe there's also a sense of those really good England players in the old days were surrounded by even better international players at their clubs, and those guys brought the best out of them. So these guys are standing out in smaller clubs. You know, they're the guys that the thing's built around, that the team's built around, and they've used that to shine. I mean, Grealish actually could have played, I think, for another country.
Irish as well.
Irish as well. And yet this season, the first two Premier League games, he's been excellent. I think he's been very good, and he's proven a point. I hope he's off the boost, because that seems to be what he does before a game. But yeah, I think that's very much it. And also because the manager is Carsley from the under-21s, and he knows these guys. And Gibbs-White said, this guy knows how I play, and I know how he works. I know his tactics. I know his mentality, and for him that's important. And the continuity selection has always been important in big teams.
One thing which I loved, and young Rico Lewis, who's had an unbelievable start for Man City at right back this season, he's kept Kyle Walker out of the team now, whether that's rotation. Obviously Kyle Walker about to turn 34, but Rico Lewis has been absolutely brilliant, and he's come out. Of course, they were all in that same bunch, right? Is that he said one thing England will do now is play exciting football. So these kids know each other. If England want to win it, And this is where I think the pragmatism of Gareth Southgate as he was building this next generation was now Carsley, we saw, if you didn't watch the under-21 championships last year, they were playing, it looked like Brazil.
Yeah.
The way England were moving the ball, I mean, in England they say you got sauce. These are saucy players. You're going to see a lot of creativity. And what I love about Carsley, play on the front foot. So all of these exciting, dynamic, X-factor players, we're going to get to see them shine. So, and they're... Very rarely do you hear young players come out and talk about it. No. A lot of them are coming out and saying, we're really, really excited about this manager. So I hope Carsley can do well, just so that England are good. It's good for the brand of football. As much as you love to hate them, it's good if England are good. And these players now representing a brand new looking England. So the composition of the squad, Morgan, Gibbs, White, some player to watch there. Let's move on to another guy who needs no introduction. Cristiano Ronaldo, another moment in history last night. He scores his 900th career goal to help Portugal beat Croatia 2-1 and make a winning start to the Nations League. 900 goals it's absurd.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, obviously I'm older, I remember Pele scoring his 1,000th goal when he was playing in the United States, and that was a big moment. I couldn't comprehend that number. Then, I mean, if a guy gets 30 goals a year, you're going, oh, well done. But 900th goal, still going, he could get to 1,000. I think that's what he's aiming at. He
came out and said now the goal is 1,000. But 1,000, I mean, 900 is ridiculous. And it's not like Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, Pele, a lot of his goals, I don't know if you saw the memes that came out when he claimed. So a lot of the memes have been like, you know, he scored a goal in the womb and he counted that. Because back then, the statisticians weren't what they are now. Like Ronaldo's ones are recorded. We know what time it is. And he started at Sporting Lisbon. There was no mucking around. Like we saw when you were 17, you played against Man United. We saw you from the beginning to now. It's just unreal.
So I'm actually looking at a list and Pele's only third. So they obviously discounted a lot of the goals, perhaps from lower leagues in Brazil, or they just didn't. Maybe he exaggerated them.
Sure.
So Ronaldo is top with 900. Messi second with 838. Pele 762. And then goes down Romario, Puskas, Joseph Beckham, Gerd Muller's down at 8, the great German player.
Der Bomber.
Yeah, and Lewandowski, he's on 635, so he's still around. And the rest of Suarez is just retired from international football. He's at 13. And you have to go all the way down to find an English player, actually.
Yeah, there isn't enough. Enough screen. Congratulations to Cristiano Ronaldo and those from Madeira, an absolute icon. Another guy who's trying to become an icon, Cole Palmer. He's been left out of Chelsea's Conference League squad completely. Chelsea are saying, no. You can't be mucking around going to Uzbekistan or wherever the away legs are. And I get it. You know, he won't be available for the competition at all. Neither will Wesley Fofana. What are your thoughts on Cole Palmer being left out of this competition?
Yeah, I mean, he people that are the England squad. So was he injured or was he just tired?
No, I think we know what's going on there. Yeah. Chelsea have gone, we cannot afford to not be in the top 4.
Yeah, I think Cole Palmer, he's been unsettled by what's been happening in Chelsea. Watching Conor Gallagher move, seeing Raheem Sterling being forced out, I think he's really, really, really annoyed. Really annoyed. I mean, it says, well, now they've gone, am I safe? You know, I played for England. I came on as a sub there. I played really well, scored, set up goals. But am I safe here? And if he doesn't feel safe and the manager's now dropping him from squads, then he's going to start playing up. And that's going to be bad for Chelsea.
Well, let's hope not. Hopefully they discussed it with him, because I think a big move for Chelsea this season. They have to make top 4 this season. And he is the key. It's now clear. He is the only real guy at Chelsea at the moment. So 0788 777716. Your thoughts on Cole Palmer being left out? Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo's 900 goals. Ronwen Williams making that, of course, incredible moment in history by securing himself a spot on the Yashin Trophy list. Coming up in 60 seconds, All Blacks, Springboks, round 2. Brendan Earl talks about that clash on the other side.
Let's go. Streaming data free on the MTN network in South Africa.
This is Omni Sports.
T's and C's apply.
The biggest match in world rugby is upon